Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are into our third series of the day. It will be Mineski versus Amplify this time round, and it is, of course, MLPDotA and Johnxfire. John, we just saw Amplify put on a bit of a performance, of course, up against Resurgence. This time around, though, up against Mineski, things should be quite a bit harder for them.
It definitely should be. This is one of their bigger tests in the region. Of course, Mineski is just that stalwart team. They have had a bit of a shakeup. Of course, they did swap out their core. They got Nico Baby to come in instead. So this is a test for them as well. And they did open up with a match against Boom ID earlier on in the day, and that actually went the way of Boom. So a bit of a rough start for Mineski, but this is a test for both teams. We'll see if Mineski still has it in them with her four solid players plus Nico Baby, who just came in, and Amplify again have a lot to prove with their lineup. They did win their last series. It did take them a very long time, and they actually lost a lot of ground at the end until one team fight came back and turned it for them. So we'll see if they do shake it up and go for a faster playstyle, if they decide to take it a bit more passively against Mineski, who, based on what we saw before, they do tend to play a bit more aggressively, but again, with that change in the pause one, it could have shifted slightly as well.
Should be interesting to say the least. Of course, Amplify. We'll get started with the first pick, Magnus, which is something we never see anymore. Not sure why you would even go for it as the first pick, John, but they did go into that first pick Enigma last time, leaving the Rubik and Wyvern, and still ended up winning. So I don't want to doubt Amplify this time around with their draft. I'm just going to let them do what they do. But I wonder what kind of draft they're planning to run with this. Mineski, Enigma will be the first
Okay.
pick, and I imagine you just go into the Rubik, right? Like, surely.
It would make a lot of sense. It's a free pickup here. Like, you're going to have an easy time grabbing that RP. You have the black hole as well, so at some point you want the Rubik banned out, or else Amplify picks it up next. So that Rubik pick should be fairly straightforward for Mineski. It does look like they are going to be thinking about it a bit, though. But that's interesting, right? Both sides pick up these big teamfight heroes. These heroes are kind of counter images of each other. One is a channeled massive bit of control that goes through BKB. The other one is a one-time use, fairly straightforward sort of initiation as well that goes in a large area that goes through BKB. So you have both of those tools available on each side. Both spells fairly easy to steal, and neither side banning out that Rubik. I don't get why that happens every single time we see the Enigma and the Magnus, just that Rubik still in the pool. It does look like Mineski will go for that Shadow Shaman instead. And the Faceless, wow, okay, the Faceless Void coming out for Amplify. They want to go with something old school. You go
I love
for
it.
that Chrono with the Empower, with the RP as well. It's all that control coming out. You have to play around those cooldowns, but this is very old, and quite frankly, I don't see it anymore. We basically don't see this combination anymore.
I love seeing it though, John. I mean, sometimes old school is good. You know, people tend to doubt these old strategies, but some teams won't be ready for it. I mean, I don't think Mineski was expecting to run into this for their second game of the day, but I'm sure they'll have an answer to it. They do already have the Enigma Shadow Shaman. Of course, that Shadow Shaman with an Aetherland is going to be quite frustrating for the Void, just being able to shackle and hex him through that Chrono if necessary. But we'll see what else is to come for Amplify. And I even wonder at this rate, like, is this even a core Magnus? It just seems so strange to pick up your position 3 and position 1 in your first two picks. Especially considering both those heroes aren't heroes that usually get banned out anymore. In fact, they never get banned out. So it'd be interesting to see what the plan is here from Amplify with this draft. And Mineski, though, they are remaining quite secretive themselves with their own draft, which is absolutely fair enough. Do you have any guesses, though, as to what Amplify is up to?
Just that big team fight. I think they want that solid way to force the fights out. The Faceless Void up against Enigma, of course, it's the question of scalability. In the end, both of these guys have ultimates that go into the late game quite well because that control is always going to be relevant. The Enigma, you do have ways of canceling out that more. The Faceless Void is much harder to keep a lock on, right? You're going to want to maybe go for something like Avenge to swap out, or something that's, plays conservatively from the backlines that can make the Void have a hard time. The Winter Wyvern would be a good support for that, although I don't think Mineski has the space to draft that in. And again, that Rubik is still in the pool, so Amplify could pick that up, have the stolen black hole on their side this time around, and keep Mineski second guessing their initiation. Unless Mineski does ban that out, but I know, they've ignored it for so long, they don't even pick it up. They banned the Grimstroke instead. So that is definitely an option for Amplfy.
Seems like a pretty obvious option for them as well, but you never really know. Mineski, perhaps ready for this, the third pick for them. What do you go for here? Got to start seeing some cores come out of Mineski.
10 seconds remaining.
It is hard to know what does work well against the Void these days, because it has been so long.
It definitely has. I think one of the, that stalwart that you used to see when Void comes out, the Vengeful Spirit is still pretty decent. The swap does kind of screw him over. It wastes time at the very least. Earthshaker's pretty nice as well, as long as you're not caught in that Chronosphere. You can block him out, but then kind of confuses him. He can't really do too much in that Chronosphere if you block him off. So those choices are pretty darn good, and neither are banned out as well. So this could be available. You could go with a Core Shaker in that case. And we have seen it work out well enough as long as it gets the space. They go to Tusk. That's another option. Of course, you can just block out the Void again. All these skills that do play around that work quite well. And even if the Tusk is going to be targeted by that Chrono, as long as you hold onto your Snowball and position yourself right, you could possibly save a couple of people. So you have that counterplay coming out for Mineski now. And Amplfy really, they went all in with this Magnus, right? With the Magnus Void, that combination is all they're going for. The Ember Spirit's not available, it was banned out straight up in the first phase. So you're going to have trouble finding that mid laner that does kind of play with the Magnus as well.
It's going to be interesting though. With that Tusk pickup, you see a core Enigma coming out, and of course KP should be the one on that Enigma. How useful that core Enigma is going to be this game is going to be to be seen, I suppose. And there's the Winter Wyvern counter coming out from Amplfy, so they're already ready for that. Of course, generally with the core Enigma, they usually just have a lot of sustain with the Guardian Greaves. They just tend to, use their Eidolon's Midnight Pulse more often than not, rather than the Black Hole anyway. And it looks like Mineski will go into the Wraith King now, and you have that classic combination with the Eidolons and the Skeletons, of course. Even the Serpent Wards from Shadow Shaman. A lot of push coming up from Mineski. Amplfy, they do have some decent wave clear, but it's not the greatest in the world. And I do wonder, how do they respond to this?
Yeah, they're going to need some way of pushing back against that early aggression that could come out from Mineski. Again, as you mentioned, that Enigma, probably not going to be focusing on the Black Hole this time around. Definitely focusing on a push. And you have that Shadow Shaman with wards, the Wraith King with his Skeleton Army. They can push these towers quite well, and Amplfy does go for the Bat Rider. So again, just great single target control. You can jump in, catch the Enigma out, catch the Wraith King out, but it's strange. Picking that into the Tusk, we have seen that time and time again. When the Tusk gets a blink, he just blinks up, snowballs, and saves the guy from the lassos. You already have a pretty decent counter from Mineski, and Amplfy pick that Bat right into it.
We saw a similar thing from Resurgence last game, right? Where they kind of just played the counter game in the draft rather than picking what they thought was suitable. And obviously that didn't work out too well for them. Now it does feel like Amplfy are they're kind of doing something similar here. I'm not saying the Bat Rider is going to be bad in any sense of the imagination. It's always pretty much good, but does it fit the lineup? I don't really think so. I mean, you've already got two massive ways of controlling in the RP and the Chrono. I guess the lasso is nice to have, but
it's possibly the Winter's Curse and lasso combinations. You grab them all, group them up, and drag them back. I just don't understand why you'd go for that if you already have the Magnus RP. And perhaps this is a support Bat Rider. Again, I don't see this support Magnus being all too great. It just tends to be a bit too greedy to be any sort of support, and it can't really jungle now. So you're going to have to take a lane and soak it up all by yourself. You could be looking at a support Bat Rider, but with that Lesh rack coming out as well, I mean, you could go with the core Bat Rider support Lesh. There's some really funky flexibility coming out from Amplfy that does give them some good push and counter push as well, but I don't know. This draft doesn't feel well stitched together. Right, you have the Magnus Void combination, the Bat Rider and Winter Wyvern. Now you have to deal with a Medusa.
Not looking great. I mean, Amplfy, if they hit everything they need to, John, the team fight's going to go their way no matter what it feels like. But with that Medusa there now, like, you've got a Wraith King that you're going to have to kill twice. You've got a Medusa that's going to take ages to take down. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of value here for a Diffusal Blade on a bat, but even then, like, he's not... The Void isn't the most amazing Diffusal Blade carrier. And Mineski just looks overall better. Like, just their laning stage, just the way they're going to go into those team fights. A lot of ways to sustain, a lot of ways to get out. Amplfy could win this game. I'm not saying they're any way out of it, but it certainly doesn't look amazing to me anyway, John. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on the draft. Who do you think came out on top?
Mineski.
Right.
Just straight up Mineski. They've got the tools they want to really play around what Amplfy has. That last pick Medusa really causes issues for Amplify's draft. I mean, you know, the Medusa gets jumped by the Void. If you're fast enough, you just press that R and suddenly Void just can't fight you under Chronosphere even. So that's a great counterpick to that already. And if you don't catch Moon, he just positions himself right, and suddenly the heroes you want to target are in the direction of that Medusa. You can't face it. So that basically takes away the Chronosphere entirely. And this is going to be a major issue for Amplfy. Of course, that does assume that Mineski will execute their draft perfectly. If they get overrun in that early game, it's going to be hard for them to find a space to really farm up. We have seen Raid Kings that come in line late. It hasn't been too impressive. You really want to get that good, decent early start. You want to go for the early aggression, the early push coming out for this kind of hero. And you will have to buy space for Moon to be online and ready to go.
Well, at the very least, we're up for a pretty entertaining match nonetheless with both these drafts. Like, so many big ultimates to watch out for. And hopefully, both these teams just start running at each other throughout that mid-game and try to make something happen. Of course, with so many big ultimates, you would assume they would. Never really know, though. Still. So it is a core Bat Rider. Position 4 Magnus coming out.
I'm not a fan of that. We've seen this a couple of times, and it takes a lot of aggression coming out to make this work. I mean, last time around, Amplfy played a pretty passive game, let's face it. They have to play this one a bit more aggressive, because that Magnus is just not going to find EXP or farm if you're just going to take it slow. And they already lose out on their ward as well. Nico Baby managing to drop that sentry given by his support. Gets the gold for himself, so that's a nice start already for this Raid King. Just a little more gold to play with.
BDZ does have the skewer available, so might just try to go for the banner and snipe, but has to be careful as well. There's a lot of kill potential here very early on from the side of Mineski, and he won't be able to get away with it. It still will be a 2-for-2 banner in trade, though. Nothing too special there. A very equal start between the two. It looks like we are going to start with a bit of a tri-lane coming out from the side of Mineski. With this tri-lane, again, there's just so much kill potential, especially once you hit that Wraithfire Blast into the Shackles and Tag Team. It's almost a guaranteed kill at level 1. You want to see Ryo on that Bat Rider, John. He's just kind of just sitting back, not really showing himself quite yet, so not making it obvious to the side of Mineski how these lanes are going to go. Perhaps even just going to go for a bit of a creep pull or skip straight off the bat. And he does go for the... He does Firefly straight away. Ninja Boogie going to find him on the Shadow Shaman, but there's not much he can do on the Shaman apart from just essentially harass just a little bit.
Yeah, there's really not much you can do in the lane as well as Rio. When you go for that level 1 Firefly, you're not going to have too much harass potential in your first level. Looks like he just wants to secure that EXP, taking it to his tower. Easy enough. And should be able to do that, but that does, again, slow down BDZ. He's going to be the sacrificial lamb of this lane. Although it looks like they might just be cycling through the poles.
Yeah, they'll just take turns. BDZ, though, does get shackled up. And with that, you see Raging Potato moving in. He only has tag team available so far, and he won't be in range to really make use of it. So BDZ will still be able to get away with this pull. Yeah, there's only one hit coming out from that tag team anyway. So BDZ will be perfectly fine. He'll just make sure he gets it all the way. Ryo, meanwhile, moving to that location once again. This is actually happening. They're taking turns pulling. And
I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, it's working. It's working so far. And yeah, it's just going to be cycled. I guess that's one way to get your support Magnus DXP. Cycle around the poles.
then you may be left behind on the Batrider. Essentially, in some weird way, they're running 2 cores in that sense. Like, there's 2 position
really
trees.
They really are. There's no way you can run that Magnus as a selfless support. There's just no way. He has to play really greedy. And they are trying to make this work. Again, Rio is wasting a lot of time from 2 supports. He's still at least somewhat finding his EXP, although I think this is the point where he has to kind of commit his life.
Yeah, tag team comes out, Ninja Boogie tries to get in range for those shackles. Ryo is still too fast with those brown boots, and so he will be able to get out of there safely. Meanwhile, BDZ won't be around for that 4th pull. He'll just go back to the jungle now and perhaps just start stacking up for Ryo on that Batrider, and that's the other way they can, of course, secure some XP. So this will probably be the last time we see this coming out from Amplfy, at least for a bit. We should have a look at the other lanes, though. Mid lane, Moon is going to be on that Medusa. He'll be up against Carl on that Leshrac, and we saw just before both of them dropping very, very low, though neither one dying. And it looks like they just kind of give up on trying to harass each other for a while. They'll just go back to trading those right clicks, at least for a bit. And as I say that, Carl, he looks like he's looking for a split earth. But it just a bit of animation cancelling. He'll just get back to those last hits as well.
Yeah, this just ends up being a farming lane for both sides unless Moon can really land those Mystic Snakes. Of course, Carl as well. If he lands the split earth right when the shield isn't up, that's a major kill op, but beyond that, you're just going to be seeing these 2 heroes trade last hits for the most part. It is going better for Carl, and he does have much more stable wave clear. But Moon isn't doing too bad, and again, he can dip in and out of that jungle to find his catch-up farm.
Goes top lane as well. Abat is there on the Void. He's going to be up against KP on that Enigma. And, you know, regardless of KP trying to deny those creeps off with the Eidolons, Abat is still finding a hell of a lot in this lane. Meanwhile, Ninja Boogie finds the first blood bot lane. Ryo will be the one to go down on the Batrider. He didn't have help there from BDZ, who actually did go for another pull on the Magnus. So he was too busy pulling, and instead of trying to go after the Magnus, they rather just go after the Batrider in lane. They try to jump him again, but Ryo does walk back and is perfectly fine. And that'll make it a 1-0 though. First blood will go the way of Mineski, and it looks like they are actually going to try and see if they can catch out this Batrider a second time. Though they may have the option to just go after BDZ as well. BDZ going to go for a bit of a stack, it looks like. They do find him though, Raging does have the snowball, but he'll just activate the tag team. BDZ will skewer away, but there's a snowball coming out, and it should land, and that'll be another kill going to the way of Mineski, and they'll also scout out a double stack sitting there in the jungle.
Yeah, that's a good move. Good rotation coming out from Mineski. They understand now what Amplfy has been doing, and planting that deep ward fairly early on usually doesn't pay off, but in this case, watching that jungle rotation, watching those stacks pile up, knowing when to take them, that's going to help Mineski much more than you'd want, and they can exploit those stacks themselves. Their heroes can clear that out fairly quick.
BDZ helping out Carl in the mid lane, just refilling that bottle. Carl has been struggling just a bit now up against that Medusa, at least in terms of his own sustain. Of course, that Mystic Snake at level 3 is really potent. Moon has been spamming it as much as possible whenever he does see the Leshrac. Still, you do see Carl. He'll rotate over into the jungle. He's had a few stacks going on there as well, so he'll be able to clear those up pretty darn quick. Hopefully, pull a net worth lead back his team's way.
Okay, you do have a bit of a slower start from both teams. Both of them really want to secure that farm. Mineski has had a better run so far with the aggression. They do run that tri lane down bot, so you'd expect them to get a bit more from the kills, and certainly have 2-0. But still, the main focus is securing that farm. Nico Baby on this Raid King, pretty much free farmed right now, 41-2.
Ryo, bot lane, they're going to make the jump, but a nice rotation immediately coming out of that Wyvern, and now they'll turn it around though. Hex does come out from Ninja Boogie, but Raging Potato probably not going to be able to get away from this one. It looks like he will end up going down. Now Ninja Boogie sticking around. He doesn't have Ether Shock, but he will find the kill on Jo. Now Nico Baby going to turn around as well. They found their Hex on the Batrider, but it's not enough. The Skewer is going to save the day. They have a Wraith Fire Blast available though for BDZ, and he's going to trade his life away to save Ryo on that Batrider. Ryo will go straight towards his shrine to heal up. But still, Mineski once again winning out that engagement.
Yeah, and you see them smoke up immediately on this duo. They want to perhaps find something in the jungle. They see them clearing out their stacks. They don't want it to go uncontested, but there's nothing they can really do.
Yeah, they'll just be forced to back out. They'll go mid lane instead, where BDZ once again gonna just TP in. Trying to soak some XP and trying to get some farm, but kill him off. He'll have to take the walk of shame back into the lane. Because you gotta get in there with the snowball. Shards haven't been skilled up yet by Raging Potato, so he doesn't have that option available. It wouldn't be too useful up against BDZ anyway, because he does have the skewer. Raging just gonna stick around, but it looks like the kill potential really isn't gonna be there. Although he will loop around now between the tier 1 and tier 2 and does find BDZ. So BDZ will just juke him out, and it looks like Raging will go up to the top lane instead.
Yeah, they have left that void alone, and
yeah, there's the chrono coming out. KP gonna be in trouble and does end up going down. So the first chrono of the game from a bat is used to success. They do find the core Enigma. Ninja Boogie now gonna run in with a haste rune. Doesn't really hex up this void yet, just kind of holding on to it. Looks like he'll just try and get some last hits in the lane as well, though. I guess there wasn't really that much kill potential anyway, just with him and Raging Potato on the Tusk. So they just won't even bother wasting the mana.
yeah, that's a fair move to make. They do spot out Jo now. Just going to be thwacking a bit, and perhaps with KP back in the lane, they do have the potential now. They have that black hole. There's no Chronosphere up to cancel. They might have that opportunity if they get a good snowball in.
KP's going to move in towards Jo. Gets the Maleficus off, but again, Raging not really making the jump in. So it looks like they're just going to back off once again. Meanwhile, Ryo going to get spotted by Nico Baby. There will be a rotation coming in from Raging. He'll snowball straight away. Ryo does not have the Firefly available, and that should mean his death. Nico, one more right click may do the job, but they can't actually reach, but he does have a stun available. He'll throw it out, and Ryo is now gone on the Bat Rider. And that's going to make it a 5-2 now, 9 minutes in. To make matters worse for the side of Amplfy, John, Nico Baby is farming way too well on this Wraith King.
He definitely is. He's gonna have a good time into that Midas. It's gonna be a fairly early Midas at around 10 minutes in. Once that's up, of course, we'll see how he itemizes. He might go for that Radiance build again, but if he gets it before 20 minutes, I'd say it's definitely worthwhile.
Carl actually finds Moon in the mid lane. Meanwhile, they're gonna lose Raging Potato in the Dire jungle. He did try to go in for a kill onto a bat, but they just didn't have the damage with that Shadow Shaman. Not quite sure how Moon died in the mid lane, but it looks like it was just Carl by himself getting the job done. Meanwhile, KP gonna say hello to Jo. We'll be able to snag the Banner Rune off the Winter Wyvern. That'll mean 3-1 for those Banner Runes for the side of Mineski. Now, Ninja Boogie gets skewed back, goes for a Hex TP play, and may actually make it out, and will. The Split Earth Mana wasn't actually available. It just came up as he TP'd out. And so Carl actually had... well, he could have used him, I guess. He didn't really opt to, though. I'm not sure if it was on cooldown at the time.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate for Amplfy. Every single kill does help him out here, and Mineski certainly has gotten away with a bit too much. You're going to have a decent timing on Ninja Bogey 6, and that will open up the map to a harder push coming out, of course, with those Serpent Wards. And again, Mineski with her 2 supports are smoked up once more.
Very aggressive play here from the Radiant side. Gonna run straight into Ryo on that Bat Rider. Now they will see BDZ first on the Magnus, just TP in, so it'll be a very nice kill to get once again. Make him walk down back to the lane, and that's exactly what they'll do. Start off with the stun into the snowball and the Hex, and he is gone. And with that, you'll be able to easily clean up that tier 1 bot tower as well. Meanwhile, though, top lane, KB gets taken down by a bat, and it looks like it was another chrono being committed. And of course, we did have a rotation coming in through the mid lane. Carl and the Leshrac getting some work done as well. So 1-for-1 trade in the end on both position 3s. Though Mineski is the one to clean up the tier 1. And in fact, they have found another Hex into Shackles on the Wyvern. Jo shouldn't be able to survive this and doesn't. He had the Winter's Curse, but he couldn't get it off in time. And Ninja Boogie will be able to get away from Carl as well before he finds the Shadow Shaman. And they won't actually be able to punish whatsoever.
Yeah, this is really just getting to be a bit too much for Amplfy. They keep trying to respond to these ganks, but they just can't find those 2 supports. And again, on Mineski's side, Raging Potato and Ninja Boogie have just been doing so much work. Put her smoke rotations into that jungle every single time, slowing down Amplfy. And the pace is certainly in their hands now. The one thing that isn't going too well for them is that top lane, but that is basically just a bot dropping his Chronosphere every single time with no hesitation, which is fair enough, as he isn't expected to join these team fights yet. It does take a while longer for Amplify's lineup to really come online. The Void is not an early game hero. Despite the presence of that Chronosphere, he does take quite a fair bit of farm.
Well, they found BDZ up in the top lane. Midnight Pulse will be dropped, and Nico Baby is there as well. And the Wraith King, of course, the Void with no Chrono will just get the hell out of there immediately. And with that, they'll clean up another T1 tower, this time around up at the top lane. In terms of towers, it's going to be a 2-0 so far for Mineski. Looks like Carl was trying to get in range of the mid-tier one, although he's been caught out now. Serpent Wards have been dropped. He gets hexed up as well, and he's got no way out of this situation. He goes down. Moon will be the one to pick up the kill on the Medusa. 9-5 now, but more importantly, a 4k net worth lead, and the map control is certainly starting to go Mineski's way.
It definitely is, and not only the map control, but the farm as well. You take a look at Moon, of course, he's died once, but overall, his farm is still up there. It's definitely very good and not slow down at all. In fact, they might be able to get the jump on a lot.
Not quite, the snowball doesn't reach. He did have mana for another time walk anyway, so he would have probably been okay. Looks like Mineski don't really mind too much though. They are starting to push in that mid-tier 1 tower. Ryo will cop a Wraithfire blast to the back. The rest of the Mineski boys are coming in through the side, and they do find the Hex on the Batrider, and now the Shackles comes in as well. They put the Midnight Pulse down with the Malefice, so there's the Winter's Curse coming out. It's actually a lot of damage on KP, but not enough to kill him off. Splinter Blast as well. They have Chrono available this time around if they use to try and use it to take this team fight, but they just don't. Amplfy trying to find a target. They will find Raging Potato, but they might lose Ryo in the process. He will get cold and braced up, and with that, Raging should end up falling for his trouble. So they will find one, but you rotate 5 heroes into that mid lane just for the sake of that Tusk kill, and you still lose that T1 tower in the end. It's just not looking great.
It definitely isn't. It's not the greatest story for Amplfy. They've had a pretty rough start. 9-6 now. Going the way of Mineski, 14.5 minutes in. And again, they're getting the farm on all the heroes they want to have that farm. Moon has been pretty much uncontested for the most part. You have some really good farm coming out from Nico Baby. Again, he's going to have a really good timing on that Radiance. In fact, he's just about 200 gold away from that Sacred Relic. So he's going to have that up after this next Midas usage, in fact, although...
They're going to find Nico Baby, but he has Reincarnate. Hex comes out now, the Chrono straight on the Enigma, but he does get stunned up on a bat. Still, they should be able to find KP in time. Don't know. He finds the black hole and they skewer into it. There's no Winter's Curse available. Now they look to turn around the side of Mineski. They still will end up losing one, and now the RP. BDZ, he'll find 3 of them. Raging Potato falling quite low and does go down though. Nico still trying to fight by himself. A bat now trying to get out of range from Moon on the Medusa. They'll be able to take down Carl, but Amplfy are looking pretty darn happy right now. In fact, Winter's Curse will be there. That'll allow everyone from Amplfy to get out safely, and Mineski will lose 3. In fact, make that 4, excuse me, if you count the Reincarnation life.
Yeah, that's a really good fight for Amplfy that does make up for it. It was a bit messy, admittedly. That Chrono was nice, and then suddenly it looks really bad when, you know, the black hole came out, but then suddenly you had the RP come out, so it's all staggered, and has at least paid off for Amplfy. If they can keep pulling these kinds of engagements off, it would work out quite well in their favor. The one issue is they don't quite have the damage yet to deal with Moon and the Wraith King. That's a lot of HP to eat through. You don't have the best damage on the Void right now. He only has that Echo Saber, so he's gonna need that quick defusal soon if they want to keep that aggression on.
Ninja Boogie will get spotted out by Jayo, the Dire Jungle, and should go down. Still, he does not have a TP available either, so he went for a warding mission. He's going to drag out a lot of time from the side of Amplfy, and they're actually going to give up on him. Or perhaps not. Looks like Rayo was thinking about it, but no. He won't even check the tree line. Ninja Boogie just going to stand there for 20 seconds and wait that TP out. I suppose that's a Shadow Shaman off the map for 20 seconds if you want to consider that, but I don't see them really getting anything done in that time.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, they definitely don't have too much to do in that time period, although Ninja Boogie is actually just staying.
No, he just runs past. He's going to find BDZ. In fact, no, he'll go for the TP play, and BDZ won't spot him in time to try and cancel that off. And so we will remain at a 9-9. 2k net worth lead still remaining for Mineski, though. Now, Nico Baby does have enough, and he does purchase the Radiant straight away. So 17-minute timing for that. Not bad whatsoever. It's going to make it a real pain in the ass for a bat as well, because you go for that Chrono attempt, but now you've got that mischance available. And of course, if you do get the Wraith King, you've got to kill him twice once again. So this is the part I feel like for a bat where things get really concerning.
It definitely is, right? You don't have an easy way to go through that mischance. Again, you don't have a way of burning through his mana as well at this point, even if you have that Diffusal up. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough just yet, and Mineski understanding this is a major power spike for them. They smoke up once more. Really good use and rotations in those items.
Yeah, they won't have Black Hole this time around, though. 25 seconds away from that, but it looks like they don't want it anyway. Ryo, he will avoid death for the moment. In mid lane, they do spot out Jo on the Wyvern, and that'll be a very easy pickup from the side of Mineski. They'll go ahead and clean that up. For 30 seconds, he'll be on the respawn board. Still, though, it was a big smoke attempt, and you only find the position 5. Looks like they won't actually find anything else, but perhaps they can start a tier 2 push up at the top lane.
They can melt these towers quite fast. You have to remember that's still an Enigma, a Shadow Shaman, and a Wraith King. So if they do opt to go for that tower, it's just going to go.
Well, Amplfy is certainly not looking to make it easy. They have the Chrono available. They have the RP available as well. They are going to group up together. They will do so, though. That T2 tower is falling very low to Moon, and he'll be able to take it out by himself. He also has the Stone Gaze available if necessary, though. They are going to jump in. Ryo, he's baiting out. Now Chrono, no, a bat, he holds out. He's looking for that Enigma KP, but he'll back out in time. Meanwhile, Carl found Ninja Boogie. He will buy back immediately, and now the Chrono comes out. They won't be able to find the Bat Rider, though now Snowball comes in, trying to stop KP from dying, and now the Black Hole as well. They found the Void. A bat couldn't take him out in time. They found Ryo in the Shard, so Raging Potato setting up for the Bat Rider. It's a 2-for-1 trade. So they are going to try and push in that mid lane at the very least. And I say 2-for-1 trade, but they did actually get a dieback on the Shadow Shaman. So Ninja Boogie giving quite a bit away. But now Raging Potato going to find Jo once again on the Wyvern. Nice shards to block, but he does just fly over the ice. Nico Baby now just looking for that stun. Snowball will be there anyway, and Jo is certainly dead.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Amplfy. They had a pretty good smoke. It did look like BDZ got isolated. He had the blink. He was waiting around for the RP. He didn't get it off. And for some reason, a bot was so far forward on the Enigma that the rest of his team was actually split up. Again, they didn't have the follow-up RP from BDZ. He wasn't in range for the blink as well. So it did seem like a bit of a rushed initiation coming out from Amplfy. And when you can't get those tools off, you are lacking a lot in these fights.
They're going to find Ryo again on that Bat Rider, though. He does have help around the corner. So they will just back off. Meanwhile, mid lane, Carl will find the T1 tower, but now the Yule's coming out, Moon. Won't have the lockdown for the Leshrac. But still, if you're Mineski, like, with this lineup, I really don't feel like you're afraid at all. You kind of just drag this out if you really want to. The Moon, he does get caught out. Stone Gaze not being committed, and there's the RP, although the cavalry is coming from the back. Stone Gaze is there. So RP for a Stone Gaze. Mineski not really going to mind. They just go back to farming.
Yeah, that's a much bigger loss for Amplfy. Again, they've been waiting on that RP for a long time, and BZ, he just held out for too long. He doesn't pop it even before that Stone Gaze came out, and it cost them. And the Moon manages to get away, just goes back to farming. That would have been a massive kill if they found that. And now it's Mineski's turn to smoke up once more. Oh.
Lasso will be there on Raging Potato, though he does have Snowball available. They have Chrono on a bat. It looks like they are just going to wait out this snowball, though the rest of the team of Mineski are coming in, and Raging still alive. Now goes for the Walrus Punch, and they do control up a Bat. He's in big trouble. The Cold Embrace is there. Bat still falling very low. Does he commit the Chrono? He does just time walk out for the moment. Nice Winter's Curse is there from Jo. Now a Bat will turn around. Nice Chrono coming out. He's caught two of them. Do they have a save? They'll use the Maleficus Moon, still alive throughout all this. Still a Bat going to get stunned up, and now he goes down as well. Nico Baby will find him. Now BDZ, he'll get snowballed on. The Cold Embrace is there, but that is basically a guaranteed kill on BDZ. They'll throw the Hex out just in case, and he does end up going down in the end. And that'll mean another tier 2 tower will also go down for the side of Mineski.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty straightforward push if they force the issue. It doesn't look like they will. In fact, they will just opt to go for the Roshan first, perhaps. And it does look like, yeah, they're making their way there. The Rosh is going to be a much bigger take for them. And they've already got control of the map anyway, for the most part, with their wards as well. So having that second life available is going to be pretty big. Who do you give it to, though? Probably not Nico Baby. Does feel like Moon would benefit a bit more.
Yeah, the Medusa, I mean, with full mana and full HP back up.
Looks like Nico Baby's setting up for it, though. Like he's... No, okay. He freed up the slot. It looked like he was thinking about it.
With that, I have Skadi as well as an Aegis coming out on Moon now, so he's getting to that point where it's really hard to control up this Medusa. Mind you, of course, once he hits level 25, then you've got a plus 1000 mana to take. It's going to be a lot harder for Amplfy even then. Still, they are going to push that bot tier 2 tower in. It looks like Mineski not really going to be set up for a defense here, although Moon will make his way in, and I suppose with the Medusa, he's the only one we really need in there to try and defend this. Carl will not be able to stay around. Ryo gonna hide in the tree line as the Bat Rider, at least for now. No one from Amplfy are around the area though, and that will mean Ryo will just back out of there immediately on the Bat.
Amplfy is playing pretty far behind. I mean, 6k at 23 is not that bad. 15 to 11 is pretty even as well. The issue is map control. They've lost a lot of it, at least just a bit more compared to Mineski. They haven't been able to play aggressively. The fights haven't really been executed to their liking. So they're going to have to really clean up that initiation. I think the key thing is getting BDZ's RP off. He really has to be able to commit in there. And we kind of saw that last time as well, right? With the Black Holes coming out. There was a lot of hesitation coming out from BDZ, and it's almost that same way here. He seems worried about being caught out or something. They need that initiation tool to take these fights, or at least a follow-up tool from that Chronosphere as well. He doesn't need to go first. The Void can go first, but that spell needs to come out, even if it's on just one hero.
KP gonna move in onto Carl, and will force out the BKB charge from the Leshrac, and now Serpent Wards being dropped as well, though it was on Ryo. He just fireflies out of there. Don't be worried, the Void was around the area though. Nico Baby gonna move in after Ryo once again on that Bat Rider. Cold Embrace not gonna keep him alive though. Winter's Curse definitely will, and he'll go for the TP play. And he will be able to get out safely. Still, you did lose that bot T2 tower. Just down to Moon on that Medusa. So, Jo does end up going down apparently. Nico Baby just chases and finds the kill. I did not realize he was even sticking around.
I mean, it's a straightforward kill, right?
Mid lane, John. The lasso is there on Moon. Do they have the setup though? Carl looking to get the damage out. A Bat as well. Has the Chrono available? Do you commit it though? Apparently the answer is no, you do not. You wait it out a bit, and I suppose he does still hold the Aegis, to be fair. With that though, you are going to lose that final outer tier 2 tower. Mineski perhaps not even going to stop. I mean, they want to make use of this Aegis before it does go away. Carl going to move in, drains the mana of Moon. BDZ as well, nice skewer back. Stun is there from Nico Baby though, and they won't really be able to follow up on BDZ's skewer. No RP coming out either quite yet, and Moon still going to drop it, looks like the Aegis. Moon will end up going down surely to the Flame Break, and does. But now with full HP, full mana, do you just keep going? He thought about it, but he will back off just before that tier 3 goes down.
Yeah, you have to really show respect to Amplify. Again, they have the tools for a big initiation. That RP, that Chronosphere, it's always going to be scary, especially into that late game. It's just so much control. If you're not ready for it, then it is going to be enough at some point, especially once you get the farm up on a bot, which it really isn't up there yet. Like, even his Leshrac has far more farm than he does, so he's going to need space to really farm up. He is working towards that BKB first, and perhaps that magic immunity will help him get the damage out that he needs. It certainly won't amp up his actual damage, though. It just allows him to right-click more. So he's still going to need a bit more after that item, and that will take time. He's not the fastest flash farmer. He does rely a lot on that Empower, and there isn't much safe space for him to really get that gold up.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
What's he do? Doesn't going down though. Carl gonna be stunned up. Nico Baby is there. Now the follow-up Hex as well. Shackles not gonna be there though. Carl will not be able to pop the BKB out in time. Nico Baby does pick up a very, very nice kill indeed. Now they'll smoke up. BKB available on the Wraith King, though you do see one being picked up by a bat as well. KP does have his smoke broken, but he knows where BDZ is. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Raging Potato trying to set up with the shards, but they do again just fly over them. But though now the snowball does go in, they'll try and get Jo on the Wyvern. Nico Baby, can he find the stun? Not quite, but he's going to dive the T3 tower anyway. Now Serpent Horde's being dropped. They'll leave Jo alone. A bat gonna jump in though. Black Hole does come out. KP, but where's the follow-up damage? It's not gonna be there. Now the lasso comes out in the back. They're just gonna hold down the Shadow Shaman. The Stone Gaze is coming out from Moon. KP somehow gonna end up surviving in the end. The tier 3 tower as well in the mid lane did end up going down. So now they'll back off. They'll go for those shrines instead. Mineski just kind of playing Amplfy like a fiddle right now.
They definitely are. They are baiting out all these item usages from Amplfy, although...
Ryo. Go on Ninja Boogie, though there's the Winter's Curse coming out of the backlines, and now the RP BDZ. He found both of them. Again, do you have the damage, though? Snowball will be there. That'll slow things down for a bat. Now Nico Baby gonna go after Ryo. They do end up getting Ninja Boogie at the least, but he buys back, and now a bat gonna end up going down. 2 kills going to the side of Moon on that Medusa. Carl, that is a very dangerous position to be in, sir. He gets hexed up. Shackles are there as well. The rest of the team are going to be there to back him up, and that is not great news, Carl. He just respawned. That's going to be a triple coming up from Moon on the Medusa, and again, they'll just run straight through the mid lane.
Yeah, it's going to be much more straightforward for them to take this high ground siege. You don't have those big teamfight spells coming out from Amplify. It's going to be a while until they're up, even if the buybacks were available. So it's just going to be a straightforward set of racks. There's not much you can do to defend against this as Amplify.
Well, at the very least, backdoor protection is going to be there. They don't really have a wave in the mid lane right now. It is going to buy enough time for the respawn, I think, of the Void. Abat, though, doesn't really have Chrono available, so that might be hard to defend anyway. BDZ, no RP to speak of either. He'll go for the skewer on Moon, so they're trying to take this Medusa down. She's so tanky though, and they have so much sustain. Abat's gonna BKB up, Stone Gaze comes out, and you just can't take him down. And so they'll go for that mid-rax once again. And I don't even see them being able to punish here. Like, they're gonna try. They'll get the lasso on Nico Baby, but he still has plenty of mana for that reincarnation. He'll BKB up though. And he's going to try and get out with that reincarnation life. In fact, he's going after Jo, it looks like, on the Wyvern. The Raging Potato, he'll get the snowball off, and Jo is dead. Carl, going to stick around in the Leshrac. There will be a buyback coming out from Jo, and they are going to try and push in that bot tier 3 now. In fact, they do just choose to back off. There's no real reason to force this. Like, you're so far ahead right now, Mineski. Again, you just can't play this very safe.
You definitely can. You also worry about the timing of that Chrono and the RP. They're gonna be up very quickly, although Mineski isn't fully backing out. They're still shoving on that bot, and perhaps they're actually ready for that combination coming out once more.
Nico Baby gonna jump in straight onto Ryo. He's in trouble though. He'll get 4-staffed away. Secondary racks starting to go down. Chrono and RP are ready to go. Bat in position. He has his BKB available as well, so should have a decent time in the chrono. He'll get started with Moon, but Moon is just so darn tanky. He's copping no damage, and now the Walrus Punch comes out of bat. Needs to get out. He doesn't want to commit that chrono. Moon is still hitting him up from the back, and now Carl going to be chased down, but he BKBs up. Ryo trying to find something on this task, but even he's too tanky, and now Nico will go in after Carl. He wants that Leshrac once again. At least the stun will be avoided by Carl. But Moon has cleaned up 2 Raxes now. BDZ, he misses the skewer on the Magnus as well. And with that, they just start hitting the tier 3 tower. Like, why the hell not? Now you found Jo as well on the Winter Wyvern. Mystic Snake comes in. Cold Embrace will be there to delay things at the very least, but Nico thinking about just sticking around. He'll throw out another stun, but Jo will survive. Nevertheless, though, you're losing all your Raxes here. This is going to be Mega Creeps coming up from Mineski soon.
Yeah, and again, we still haven't seen that combination come out, although they might force it out here.
Well, Bat's going in for those right clicks. BDZ is ready to jump. Chrono's still being held onto right now. Meanwhile, in mid, they end up finding Carl. And yeah, they just called GG. Just had enough.
Oh, I mean, look, Amplfy, they had a big team fight lineup. Of course, they opened up with that Magnus, the Void. Very old strat, right? Very old combination we don't see often at all. Mainly when you see that Magnus, it's the Jug, it's the PA. They went with the Void, and it doesn't pay off. They don't get that big team fight they want. They can't play into the Raid King Medusa. Even the Enigma was a big factor as well. And they really lost out in that laning phase. It looked like they were going to get away with that greedy Magnus support with all that pull rotations they were doing. It doesn't pay off in the end. They just lose too much ground. Mineski managing to grab their first victory of the day, and Amplfy taking a bit of a hit, but you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles in these close qualifiers.
It certainly is, John. And of course, our next series should be a pretty interesting one. Of course, Johnxfire are back. This time around, they're going to be up against 496 Gaming, and that was it was the finals, right, that we were looking at between those two in the open qualifiers for SEA?
Yeah, I believe so. It was the finals.
Right, so we are going to have a rematch of those finals in the open qualifiers. Of course, 496 did end up qualifying through the second round, and Johnxfire was there through the first round. So we'll see if 496 can get some revenge for that loss up against Johnxfire. Nevertheless, it is MLPDotA and Johnxfire. We'll be back with you guys very, very soon for that next series. Won't be too long.